Oh, hi there. Great news. Duke and Duchess's teacher really loved the program that they wrote to computer grades, but she has a few requests. First, nice try, Duke, but you're not going to get random bonus points. Instead, she's agreed to drop the lowest grade. She also said that she doesn't just make negative entry mistakes, and she'd like you to safeguard the program to only allow values between 0 and 105. And then lastly, she said sometimes there's more than 5 grades. So, come along with Duke and Duchess as they face these challenges and modify their program to meet their teachers' needs. Along the way, we'll review everything you need to know in Unit 2 for the AP Computer Science A exam. Come on, let's review for the exam. Okay, Duke, I'm so excited that the teacher is encouraging us to continue to work on this program. Let's first go through and clean up some of the things that she doesn't want. We know she doesn't want to have this extra points in here. But there's 3 other things that we have to do. Let's first work on the fact that we don't know how many grades we're going to have. Having to continuously enter grades seems like we're going to need a loop. Let's see what we have in my notes. There are 2 types of iteration that you need to know for the AP exam. The first is while loops. While loops test a Boolean expression at the beginning and continue to iterate the body while that condition is true. Then there's for loops. For loops are often called counting loops. They consist of an initializing expression, a Boolean expression, and then a step expression. They will also continue to iterate the body while the Boolean expression is true. We could either prompt the teacher and ask her how many grades she wants to enter and use a for loop, or we can use a while loop and have her enter grades until a certain grade is entered. Let's have her enter grades until negative 999 is entered. Because we don't know how many grades we have, we're going to have 2 variables. One to keep the running total of all the grades, and one to count how many grades we have. We're going to need to prompt the teacher to enter a grade and ask them to enter negative 999 if they want to stop. Let's set grade to 0 to start. We want to keep entering grades while grade is not equal to negative 999. We'll adjust our average to use total grade and num grades. Okay, let's run our program and see what happens. Oh no, I forgot that readln only reads in strings. I'm going to have a string for input, and then we can use integer.parseInt to change our grade to an int. That doesn't seem right. Most of Duke's grades are really good, and his lowest grade is only a 70. How come his average is negative 68? One way that we can determine what's wrong with our program is to conduct a trace. So we have grade, which is 0. We have total grades, which is 0. We have num grades, which is 0. We entered 89 as the first grade. That got changed to an int 89, and then that got added to total grades. Then we incremented num grades. 90 was added. And we continued. And then we entered negative 999. That gave us negative 480 and 7 grades. Negative 480 divided by 7 is a negative 68. No wonder our program's wrong. We weren't supposed to include this in the total. Selection on the AP exam is going to be represented using if statements. You have one-way selection. If a Boolean condition is true, there's a set of statements that will be executed. Or you have two-way selection. If something is true, a set of statements is executed, else a separate set of statements is executed. Let's add an if statement to make sure that if grade is negative 999, it's not added to the grade. To compare reference data or objects, you'll want to use dot equals. Dot equals will compare the content. If you use equal equals to compare references, it will compare whether or not the two reference variables are pointing to the same object. There are three logic operators that you need to know for the AP exam. Not, which is an exclamation point, is going to change the value of the Boolean expression to its opposite. And, which is represented with two ampersigns, is going to join two Boolean expressions together. It will be true if both of those two Boolean expressions are also true, and false otherwise. Or, which is represented with two vertical lines, is going to join two Boolean expressions together, and it will be true if at least one of those is true, and it will only be false if they're both false. We only want to add it if it doesn't equal that. So we can add an if statement. Because input is a string, we're going to use dot equals. Now let's run the program again. Uh-oh, because I included the grade assignment inside the if statement, it never gets the value -999. We'll have to make another change. There are 6 relational operators that you need to know for the AP exam. Equal equal is used to compare two values to see if they're equal to each other. Exclamation point equal is for not equal, compares whether or not things aren't equal to each other. Less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than, equal to. Key point to remember is that equal equal is used to compare whether or not two things are equal to each other and should not be confused with assignment, which is a single equal sign. We update grade to be an int, and then we check to see if it's not -999, and if it isn't, we add it to grades and increment the number of grades. Let's see if that fixes our problem. That's correct. Now that we're able to enter the grades, let's focus on our next task, dropping the lowest grade. We're going to need an int min grade. We're going to set it equal to the largest thing grades can be, 105. Once we know the grade isn't -999, we can check to see if it's lower than the lowest grade entered. If it is, then min grade is that new grade. Once we're all finished, to compute the average, we're going to take double total grades minus min grade to remove the lowest grade, and our number of grades is actually going to be one less. Before we run our program, let's add an output statement to make sure that min grade is actually being assigned to the grade we want dropped. Okay, let's try it. The lowest grade that we entered was a 70, and now Duke's average is 90. The last thing that the teacher wanted us to do was to double check that she didn't make any errors. All grades should be between 0 and 105. Let's add a warning to the teacher if she's entered a grade that's less than 0 or greater than 105. We'll warn her that the grade won't be added, and then she'll have to enter it again. So if the grade is less than 0 or the grade is greater than 105, we're going to add a warning. Else, we can continue our program as usual. Let's test our program again. I'm going to accidentally add 900. I get a warning. Duke's average is still 90. I hope our teacher enjoys this program. That's all for the Unit 2 review. Remember to study hard so you can get that 5.